Relationships are everything. It's the little things. It's the 9 minutes of things. It's listening. It's making somebody feel understood.
The small things are everywhere, right?
What are the little things that any of us in the trade show exhibit services business do to win trust and credibility? And what happens more importantly if we don't?
Nothing can slow you down more than a mistake.
If you cannot deliver on simple things like this, you leave people wondering, are you able to deliver on the big stuff that I'm counting on you for?
I think a common thread through these are just intentionality, you know?
I think trust and credibility is earned. I think it's the most valuable thing in long-term relationships. And I think it can start by doing the simple things like we talked about today.
Strong companies, lasting partnerships, powerful events. Welcome to the Experience Builders Podcast.
Chris, it's great to see you.
Great to see you too, man.
You've been reading some blogs. You've been reading some Seth Godin.
Oh, let me tell you, it's just, I know there's a ton of information out there, right? So you just, there's days I go, I just don't want any more noise. But when I see or read or hear something that cuts through the clutter, it's just really great. It lights me up, just does. I don't know if you're the same way, but I had one of those instances this morning. So.
Okay, so what was the blog? What did he talk about?
So let me set the table by just saying my headspace right now is relationships are everything. And I know that's not a new sentiment, but I think everybody certainly the Experience Builders listeners, business development hunting is just totally under construction right now. What people have always done, whether it's calling show books or walking the show floor or Google pay-per-click ads or whatever it is, I think it's the wild, wild west. And what I hear most is it comes back to our best partners are saying referrals and networking are where their new business opportunities are coming from. It might be new business through their existing client base or just referrals to new companies. But it comes down to the relationships. That's at the core thing. So that said, I'm sitting here in that mindset. And today, Seth Godin, who many of you know, longtime listeners know that I'm a huge fan, great thought leader in business and marketing. Anyway, his blog post today was titled 900,000 versus 9. And in a few words, he reminded us that it takes 900,000 minutes to become a board-certified dermatologist. He used dermatologist as an example. But basically, after 900,000 minutes, at that point, you've become very skilled, well-informed. You can call yourself a subject matter expert. He said it takes less than 9 minutes to make your patient feel seen, understood, and reassured, right? I think all of us can relate to that. But if you skip the 9 minutes as that dermatologist, you've wasted the 900,000 minutes you've invested to become the subject matter expert, right? So it started, all of a sudden, the lizards in my brain were off and running, Khalil. So I started thinking about, it's the little things. It's the 9 minutes of things. It's listening. It's making somebody feel understood. He's talking about 9 minutes of relationship building. I started thinking about, what are the little things that any of us in the trade show exhibit services business do to win trust and credibility? And what happens more importantly if we don't? And I started thinking, could we pick 10 things, 10 little things that if you don't do those things, you can absolutely blow it with the big deals or the big client opportunities? And I know we could. So today I thought we'd unpack. I'm sure there's 100 things, Khalil, but let's take 10 and talk about them. And maybe it'll jumpstart the conversation in some offices. I really hope that some of the Experience Builders listeners, once you listen to this, you're just going to add in the comments section down below, a bunch more stuff that we can all share and sharpen our swords that way together. But that was the purpose behind this topic today. And I thought, let's talk about 10 little things that really are big things at making sure we lock in those relationships that are so important. Make sense?
Yeah, I love it. And there's honestly, so many things. 10 is, I mean, the small things are everywhere, right? But the 10 things
They
that
are.
you've got here are really great professional advice for anybody younger, but they're really great reminders for anybody that's, in their role, maybe gotten a little bit complacent, or I don't know, even just needs a little bit of a pep in their step. I think that these will be inspiring, to say the least.
Well, when I read back through what you and I workshopped here, I realized this is not just for the trade show. This is
No,
really
it's anybody.
anybody in the business to business industry,
Yeah.
industry of any kind, and you're involved in buy sell transactions of some sort. So this applies to everybody. So
Yeah.
great point.
Well,
So
let's-
what do you
let's
want to
start
do?
off with a bang.
You want to run through?
This,
You want to run through them?
yeah,
and
we'll run
I'll
through.
maybe do-
Let's start with the one that everybody loves, proofreading.
Yeah, in no particular order. So we talked about proofreading, right? I don't care. I mean, we're talking about proofreading your own email, right? And by the way, if you're texting on your phone and you have spell check, tell me that hasn't become your worst enemy as it starts to change words you did not intend to say. But you're so quick to respond because we're all in a hurry. If you don't go back and read that, you might find that I do that all the time, and I go, I almost sent this, right? And this is not anything what I intended to say. So your emails, how about your pitch deck? I found mistakes in our own updated slide decks. If in our business, it's your client's artwork. Imagine we've had proofs that are done with a multi-$1,000, 20-foot high, 16-foot wide fabric mural. And if you don't catch a typo and the client doesn't catch it and they sign off on it, let me tell you, when you get to the trade show or the event, you can't use it. So you're scrambling and rushing to get it done. So, how about just proofreading your own graphics? How about your own estimate? You just go back and you read and you realize this didn't include what I thought, or I'm including what I didn't, or the price isn't right. How about the post-show invoice after the event where there's the scope of work changes and the additional stuff, or the labor that ran over or under. There's adjustments you made. Did you proofread all that stuff? How about just their annual Christmas card, Khalil? Right? I'm sending it to a department that has 6 people in it that we work with every one of them. And you realize you forgot the top guy's name to include it in the personal, address.
Or
So,
misspelled it.
yeah. Or misspelled it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, Isabel
I
spells it with 2 L's and an E at the end. She doesn't spell it with just E and 1 L. So, yeah, my point is, I don't care what it is. Proofreading, simple thing, absolutely one of the little things that could fracture relationships.
Well, and I think in a time when things are so quick and we operate at such a high pace and frequency, and we're trying to get so many things done, and we always have things left on our to-do list because we can't get it all done, proofreading is hard because we think of it as slowing us down.
Yep.
But nothing can slow you down more than a mistake from not proofreading and then ruining your day,
You ever
ruining your
create a
relationship.
template? You ever create a template and you just go in to edit it with a different client name, and
Oh, man.
there's 7 places, but you only caught 6 of them, right? And then it still has the old name, and you go, talk about blown credibility. It just makes it look like you didn't give any personal thought to this proposal. You cookie cuttered it, and now they know that. So I just, proofreading. Let's put that at the top of the list.
Okay, so in the same vein, we've got a lot of communication ones on here, which is really important. Communication's literally such a fundamental to doing things right. A written follow-up.
Yeah.
I think this is a really great one. So why do you think this is such an important thing for people out there?
You know what? Somebody once told me, wise person, I think it was Scott Wallowed, who's now with Apple Rock once he sold his business. Shout out to Scott. But he said, anything in writing is an agreement, and agreements prevent disagreements. My golf instructor, not that it's helped my game at all, but he reminded me not to just follow up, but follow through, right? When you follow through on your golf swing, the ball goes right where you want it to go. Well, if you want this relationship to go where you want it to go, I'm sorry, am I stretching? Did I pull a muscle reaching for that one, Khalil? Is that your? But you know what?
Maybe if the follow through does not, my
Well,
follow through does not
well, then go where I want
send
it.
the ball where I want it to go.
But the point is, you have a conversation, you go back and forth with a client and great ideas on a Zoom call. If you take a couple of minutes and you summarize in writing, these are the things we talked about. Great to connect with you. These are the action items I have. These are the things I took note of that you're going to do. These are the deadlines, that we agreed to. The point is, and you send it off. You know what? 3 weeks from now, 3 months from now, the one written follow-up becomes the written record of what the conversation and what each person's accountable for. So don't just follow up, follow through. Anything in writing is an agreement, and agreements prevent disagreements. So I love that.
Well, and I think so often we don't, again, in the same vein as proofreading, it takes a little bit of time, causes us to slow down. When you're writing a follow-up, you're really reflecting. Not only are you doing it for the other person and for the agreement between you two, but you're really just solidifying it in your own mind and your own thinking that, hey,
Yes.
this happened. Here's what needs to, you've taken the time to hit pause, make sure this was done with diligence. And then it's even just courteous. I mean, how helpful it is when you get the follow-up.
Yes.
Oh man, thank you so much
it's
for
professional.
that. I forgot,
And by the way,
So-
Cleo, is it a spoiler alert if I say it really isn't that much more time anymore, because most of us have either Otter, the AI note taker, or there's Genesis. We use a software called
This
Sybil.
is a good,
I get a written record of that, and it gives me a transcript without all the blather and the chit chat. It just gives me, it already writes the summary for me, and I can take
but
probably
here's a question
60
for you.
seconds
When
to
you,
edit that.
when you're getting that, okay, we have a meeting. My note taker sends you the automated email. Hey, Chris, thanks for meeting. Here's action items. Here's summary of the meeting, et cetera, et cetera. Or I take a second and I actually look at my notes and I write out, maybe I do copy a little bit from the note taker, but I make it a lot more personal. Chris, thanks so much for your time. Really love getting to chat about using AI inside your workflow. I wanted to make sure that you had the link that I texted you. I'm going to put it in this email as well. And then also, this is what I'm going to be working on. Please don't forget to send me these. I look forward to seeing you next week at our next call. Which one would you rather get? Can you tell a difference between the note takers and the personal written follow-up?
Listen, I always enjoy the handwritten Christmas card note, not the standard Hallmark one out of the box that you're sending to 150 people on your list. So I totally agree with you. However, I think what all the smart people I pay attention to in AI, and you're one of them, right? And I'm going to give a shout out if he's listening to Tim Young at Astound, who's doing some really, I think, some terrific stuff, observing and sharing how he's integrating AI and what it is and what it isn't. It cannot replace the human element, which you're describing. But I do think I can take my transcript and I can use that in my temp and I can start reading it. And then I go in, to your point, and I am personalizing and I'm taking some stuff out. A good note taker does a lot of that for you, but I'm not looking to lose my soul sort of in that. And so AI cannot replace you, but it can go from a 20-minute email you're going to write to giving you, by the way, remember, the good note takers, the good AI note takers, they get rid of a lot of the noise. It's fact-based.
Mm-hmm.
So it allows you to start to add, the personality of you to the conversation without having to just do all the data entry. So I think it's a 5-minute email, not a 20 or 25.
No, and I agree with you. I think if you're someone that's literally just letting the AI send the email, and you haven't done like thorough customization of the prompt that it uses to send the email,
correct.
It can come off more negatively sometimes than positively.
Yeah, I agree.
I would always say before that email's sent, I want to proofread it and make adjustments myself to make it feel accurate and like my voice, but also what I really think is critical to actually share. Because it'll send 7 action items to Chris.
Yeah.
When I only needed him to check one thing.
By the way,
So-
Cleo, I'm in a lot of Zoom meetings and I see all those AI note takers. Not one person has their note takers send me notes. And mine is
Good.
not set up to send anybody else notes. And I would
Yeah.
argue that at least half the people that have those note takers, I don't even think they go back and read those things.
That's very
You
true.
want to believe it. So I don't think we're in any danger of, rogue AI notes being sent, near and far.
Oh, I've
But
seen it. I've
have
seen
you?
it happen.
Okay.
I've seen
So,
it
and
where,
I'm sure there's a way you could adjust your settings where it can automatically
yeah,
go to
it's
people you're meeting with
usually
regularly.
it's usually from people that have just signed up for it or something like that, and they
Yeah.
haven't gone and updated
Yeah.
the settings. And then I get a review, and they were on the call 10 minutes before chatting about whatever, and I'm seeing all the stuff that they talked about. So you just got to be careful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's. I mean, this is along the communication lines again, but like clear communication. What does that mean to you?
So, first of all, I think we have to remember who we are nowadays. I'm a visual learner. I've become a much bigger visual learner. I think it's advertising age that still reports that the human mind responds something like 68,000 times faster to an image, to a picture than it does to words or text. So a lot of times clear communication for me is, and that could be in your proposal, it could be in a conversation, it could be in your slide deck, but it's what visuals, I think great visuals that are, not just memorable, but they're relevant. I think if you give me relevant examples, even if you're describing a story that's relevant, I'm visualizing that. And so that's why I think case studies are so effective, especially when they're of a company similar to mine or something that I can relate to. So if you're gonna use examples, make sure they're relevant to me. I'm a big fan of analogies. I'm forever, as I'm coaching up new people or people in development. You go, how do I make you understand? When they're feel like the weight of the world's on them. I'm a guy that I use it for some reason. I have a restaurant analogy I use. I'm like, look, it's your job is to manage this table of 6, right? You're thinking about that. I'm not asking you to manage the whole outdoor patio section. We have a different person who does that, right? You're not in charge of the wheel in the kitchen of how fast the food has to come out in under 12 minutes, and it's got to look nice, right? You're not, there's another person who's running that. The general manager has all of that to oversee, but then they also have to think about the line at the front door and the queue and the reservation and how we schedule it. So I just need you to manage these 4 projects today, that are going to touch, and they're all. So a lot of times, if they're not from my industry, I'm looking for analogies. People go, "Oh, we're looking for an exhibit." I'd say, "Okay, well, are you looking for what's the old? Are you looking for a Yugo or are you looking for a Jaguar? Both can get you to the airport on time, right? But what's your budget?" And so you try and find a way to connect with people. I think clear communication is, for me nowadays, it's visual. Could be verbal stories that paint a picture that's easy for me to understand. Maybe it's everyday examples that a person can relate to, whether they're an employee that you're coaching or it's a customer that you're trying to relate to. Because if you hit it right and they do relate to what you're saying, you've become Khalil, right? A very trusted and credible person in their life. And ultimately, that's going to get you the front runner status on competitive bids, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there could be a lot more emphasis put onto communication in universities, in professional development training. You said visuals. I think visuals are incredible, and I think sometimes we overcomplicate them. If you're trying to discuss something, even just having a visual with the text of what you're trying to discuss is better than no visual, because hey, we're talking about this, and if you can speak in a way that, hey, Chris, sitting down to meet with you to discuss the project for the event that's happening on November 28th, later this month. And by the end of this conversation, I'd love to have a path forward for us to work together. If you can just start the conversation with that, of like, hey, this is what we're talking about and this is what I want to happen after the conversation, you've done so much of the communication. But sometimes, so many times we dance around it. Like I'm thinking about employees communication, about dancing around asking for PTO, dancing around asking for a raise, dancing around asking to let go of this client because they suck, whatever it is, right? If you can just be clear, right, at the up front and get to, hey, this is what I want to discuss, and by the end of the conversation, I'd like to be at this result. That goes so far. But clear communication goes
well, and I don't think you can have
way.
I don't think you can talk about clear communication without reminding people two important things. One is setting proper expectations, and and making sure you're introducing and using common language that we and very our industry is known. We have a lot of slang in our industry, Khalil, right? So, for example, we've talked about artwork a couple of times. If I'm going to do what we call a grand format or a wide format graphic, your logo, you want it on a 20-foot wide wall that's going to be 12 feet tall. But you give me your business card to scan as the artwork. Well, so go to your copy machine and take your business card and blow it up 400%. Then take that and blow it up another 400%. And take it up and blow that copy up another 400%. Chances are you're not even going to recognize your logo, right? So, so we don't say, well, I hear people go, oh, well, just res it up, like, which means, it's a trick to soften the edges on poor resolution stuff. And you go, just res it up. Like, don't throw out language people don't understand, right? Let's create common language that everybody can understand. Set clear expectations on what you need or don't need, or what your timeline is or isn't, or what you're going to do and what they're going to do. That's a huge part of clear communication. So there's no misunderstanding. Ultimately, we're talking about how you influence decision guidelines, and two of the first steps there are always the language and the expectations part. So communication is it's really a big thing, but we probably have 3 things on our list that are touching on that. So.
Well, we actually have one more, and it kind of goes in the opposite of clear communication. Like if you do,
so I should be more vague and
wrong.
Be vague. And,
no, it's providing the wrong information.
Oh, yeah,
right.
And sometimes it's unintentional, and sometimes I've heard it used to cover CYA, right? Cover your buttocks, because you didn't get something done in time. Sorry, that was a little Forrest Gumpy, the way I said butt talks there.
It almost was worse than the cover your ass.
Using the A word. No, but you give me the wrong ship address. We get this all the time in our business. Somebody gives us the wrong move in or move out dates or times. That's a costly error, man, to try and fix. What's that joke?
Or the wrong date, the wrong deadline. Telling someone that it's going to be there this day or whatever, and then it's off.
No,
like even for just like, I'm going to receive the information on this day.
Yeah.
I build my whole schedule around that.
How about your cost estimate being wrong because you forgot to include something? Or like I said, your shipping details are incorrect. How about the directions just to come meet you at your office and they're off? Oh, no, I meant to say, I'm a big fan of the phrase walk softly and carry big statistics. I value nothing more than people that have great data and information, and don't overwhelm me with it, but you're the person I know I can count on. But poor information, or, hey, I know I said I was going to have this to you on Friday and it's Tuesday, but you know what? I've been slammed, man. We're so busy. Hate people that use that as an excuse why you gave me some bogus information or you didn't deliver. And you're sort of covering for yourself for whatever reason you get to it. So again, we're talking about little things that can chip away at the trust and credibility that ultimately will have that customer of yours looking at another vendor because you're just unable to deliver on the little stuff. How can I trust you with the big event if I can't trust you to do these things you say you're going to do, right?
Yeah. Okay, so moving on, being on time.
Yeah. Well, okay. For an appointment at the office, for a Zoom call, for lunch or dinner meeting, how about for the deadline I told you? By the way, if you call me on a Friday at 3:00 and tell me, oh, we're pitching on Monday, I need this by 9:00 Monday, I'm not going to pretend that I'll have it to you by then. I say, well, then I'm probably not the guy you want to talk to. You're literally, Do you really need it Monday? Well, that's when we told the client. What day did you tell the client that? Oh, it was 2 Fridays ago, but you're just calling me now. So anyway, I'm pretty good at fleshing out that kind of stuff. But at the end, yeah, being on time says a lot about who you are. I think it cuts to who your values
Yeah.
are. I'm that guy that's, I like to be, I might be sitting in the parking lot 10 minutes early before the appointment, but I never want to be the guy rolling in 10 minutes late. And if I am going to be 10 minutes late because of something just absolutely unforeseen, I'm giving somebody 20 minutes advance notice that I'm running behind. I'll ask to push a meeting back 15 minutes. A lot of people know, I got a lot going on, and a lot of people know me as that guy. And most people will show me that grace. But if it's traffic, if you're going to see a client or whatever the case is, but respect the person's time enough that we both committed to doing this thing at this time on this day. So let's be there and do it, right? And I'm serious about it. So yeah, I think don't be late with the physical appointment, the proposal, the digital appointment, whatever you committed to doing.
Yeah, it's a tough one, especially when you're in back-to-back. When 20 years ago, when you're driving around from meeting to meeting to see clients, et cetera, there were gaps in between your day.
Yes.
And now with Zooms, you can be back-to-back all over the country, essentially.
Yeah.
In a matter of seconds.
You can.
And there's real fatigue that happens there. And so I think the being on time is important, but I think being on time isn't really a symptom of how prepared you are.
Yeah.
And in order to prepare yourself, give yourself those windows. Something that I did very, very recently, we used to do hour meetings with clients. It was kind of just standard. Well, we moved them all to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And now we give ourselves a 15-minute buffer between each one.
Absolutely.
And it helps a lot. And yeah, there are definitely instances where we still go back to back, but a lot fewer than they used to be.
You and I did an episode once on the subject of digital fatigue, because it's such a big thing in our life. I can now proudly say we have enough episodes. I can't remember what episode it was, right? But you know what? It's a great point because because you might be able to do it at a desk. You rack, stack, and pack those meetings. You got to give yourself time to just stop and decompress. How about at the very least, time to just, while it's fresh, take the transcript, look at the notes, do your follow-up in writing, personalize that. Or, you know what? There's 3 things I want to investigate that came up in the meeting. Let me go check with my operations people on this, this, and this, or special request I had about that, or whatever the case is. So, you're absolutely right. You gotta balance, even though it's easier to meet and see people, you gotta balance your workload because your brain needs to break, right?
Well, and I would even say it's not worth being on time if you're not prepared,
Yeah.
Just because you can end one Zoom meeting at 11:59 and show up to the next one at noon, that doesn't do anything.
Are you going to be are you really present?
To be present?
Right.
Yeah,
right. Are
exactly.
You present there? You've got to make sure you're ready.
Okay. So this kind of goes along with some of the Zoom stuff we were just talking about, but your appearance.
Oh,
how should you present yourself?
So it's very true. The obvious thing to think about is your physical appearance, right? Let me just, okay.
Yeah, I feel attacked right now. I've got a beard. I've got I feel like somewhat of a nice shirt.
I have it in the transcript notes to send you later about. No, but how about your proposal's appearance? How about somebody's coming to your office? What does that look like? We did a thing. God, it was a white paper we wrote 20 years ago, but you and I did an early episode on this called the 68 Moments of Truth. And we talked about all the things the nonverbal things that customers judge us on, right? And I think the appearance part kind of falls into that. You have them come into your office what's the neighborhood you're in look like? What's the parking experience like? When they walk into your lobby, what's their first impression? Is your front door locked, covered with huge no soliciting signs and a very unfriendly, which makes me question my own safety to even be here? Or do I walk in and it's, I've walked into offices and I'm like, is that jasmine I smell? Right. And it's, beautiful, or it doesn't even have to be a receptionist. I think a lot of offices don't have receptionists, but there's got to be somebody on call that's going to greet me. So I think about the appearance of things like that. I think about, do you really how about, can I ask you, do you pay attention to business cards and the appearance of a person's business card
Yeah,
anymore, Cliff?
absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
think that does. Is it clever? Is it unique? Is there something there, or is it go into my pocket, never to be seen again because it's just kind of unimpressive? So, yeah, I think it's you. It's your what is it that it's right? You only get one chance to make a first impression, but that goes
Mhm.
for your estimates and your proposals as well. Are they
Right.
too hard to understand? Are they easy to follow? Um, if I'm on a Zoom call with you and your office there always looks immaculate, but if it were just a total dump, and we're talking about you
Mhm.
handling my national event program, well, if it doesn't look like you can organize your own desk, how am I going to feel about you organizing my event that has 126 moving parts and pieces, right? So we'd be surprised about the things that people judge us on. So, yeah, appearance is
Yeah.
on there. By the way, do you
Yeah.
realize
No.
all these things we're talking about, Khalil, one in the last 5 years, 1 in 3 people that work in the global event space globally are brand new to this industry. And when you think about those that come into
Mm.
the industry that don't have the institutional knowledge, the product knowledge, or the process knowledge, you and I are talking about 10 things that every new person can do and be impressive without having to be the expert on the stuff or the process. You got a team of people at your company that are backing you up with all that wisdom and knowledge. But you can
Yeah.
really still be a hero if you're talking about great communication and you're talking about appearance and language. You're talking about. I loved what you said earlier. You were talking about these really cut through to the values that we
Mhm.
have and the standards that we have. These are just the behaviors and the tasks that showcase those. But if you
Right.
value me and my time and yourself and your time and your own company, I'm going to know that by how you behave and all these things that we're talking
Yeah,
about, right?
absolutely.
Would you agree?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think this is a great episode to share with any of your new hires
Yes.
that are new to the industry, and really any interns, entry level positions. Obviously, anybody can get value out of it, but especially the people that are getting started in their career, these are valuable.
Are we saying translation, fake it till you make it? Is that what this really means?
Yes, act as if.
Act as if. If that story's
No,
not
okay,
yours,
so
if that story's not yours and you heard the sales ace at your company tell it, that story's yours until you have your own story to tell, right?
there you go. That's great. Okay, so networking is a big thing,
Yes.
especially in our industry. Taking withdrawals out of a relationship before making a deposit
Oh man,
is
that's a
another
pet
one of your
peeve.
small things.
Yes.
What do you
Right.
usually see this happen? Where do you see these withdrawals happening?
You know when it comes, it comes from new people and very often, or people that are making mistakes. A withdrawal is I'm asking you to show me grace or to give me something that I haven't earned a right to ask yet. So when I say make deposits into relationships, and by personal ratio, and I've talked about this on other calls, 4 deposits for every 1 withdrawal that you want to make from a relationship. There's got to be something in the account, right? I'm going to need 2 extra days to put this 3-show traveling roadshow proposal together for you because some of the information I needed to put this together, um, the supply chain vendors were late in getting back to me. And I don't want to tell you that 10 minutes before the proposal's due. I want to let you know that in advance. And that's professional, shows that I respect you. And hopefully that's a trial close to see if you respect my time, what it takes to put this together. So Yeah, a withdrawal is basically asking a client for something before you have enough relationship capital to make that withdrawal. And if you're
Wow.
making multiple withdrawals and they don't feel that that you're putting into the account, um, that doesn't bode well for you having a long a long-term happy client
What would
relationship.
you what would you classify as a deposit?
Um, hey, Khalil, you and I were last time we spoke, we were talking about we had a great conversation about AI tools. And I don't know if you know this, there is a great AI tool that a lot of trade show exhibitors are using to capture leads beyond what the standard box and lead retrieval device is. It works right with your phone, right? And it's called Backtrack, and you can. I mean, it's really affordable. I think it's about $300, $300 or $400 per show to use it, and it gets you, I don't know, up to 1,000 leads or however many leads it is. But it basically records every conversation once you just hit the go button, and it gives it back to you at the end of the show in actionable tasks, not unlike some of the AI note takers, but it'll give you specific tasks on how to follow. I'm sending you the link. I happen to know the two guys that own that company. So if you're interested, let me know. I'll do a personal introduction to you with either Hunter or Jordan, and they'd be happy to talk to you. There's a deposit in a relationship. I get nothing out of that. I don't make something. I heard you in our last conversation, and you struck me as a person serious about improving your trade show results, and I think this could do that. So there's one example. Hey, you
Yeah,
mentioned
no,
that your
I think
show's going to be in Boston, Khalil. I just sent you, check your inbox. I just sent you 5 great restaurants, sort of not on the radar, that were within a 10-minute cab ride of the convention center area where you're staying. By the way, if you choose to go to Lock Overs, Vinny's still the maitre d'. Tell him I sent you. Tell him he still owes me $20 from that time at that place. He knows that. He knows what time. But anyway, my point is, I'm gonna try and VIP you, even though I'm not there with you, and tell you a couple things you could do. And if you want a great place to go see a comedy show, Duck Soup is just up the street in the theater district, and that's always kind of a fun thing to do after dinner. So, anyway,
no, that's great.
something like that.
No, those are great. And I think I even think those are really great deposits. I think the main thing, even just the willingness to give a deposit. Hey, Chris, if
Yeah.
I had an ideal customer for you, who would it be and how can I connect them with you? Just starting like in those first conversations, like how can I support you in your business? Are there people that you're looking to connect with? If I know any of those people, how do I get them in touch with you? Like that's a really great way to have deposits ready, of just being ready to refer people. And then I think, like you said, I'm thinking about you, right?
Yeah.
I saw this article, thought about you. I thought you might like it. Hey, saw that you're going to be in this town. Here's my favorite restaurant. If you want my assistant to schedule a reservation for you, let me know, right? Little things like that are
Yeah.
so helpful. And just showing that you care is, at the end of the day, what is at the heart of a deposit, right?
Well,
And
I
if
think
people feel
you
cared for, then they're going to care about you.
you made a great point, Khalil. I think the holy grail of deposits is if I can give you something like a referral, tell me what's the ideal customer for you? If I can give you a
Yep.
referral that has a business impact, I think that's the ultimate. If not, is there
Absolutely.
something else I can do for you personally that will make your event more pleasant, or your trip to a city that I know well and you maybe don't know well a little more fun, or you're with your staff and you want to impress them? I say, you know what? You need to you guys are doing a show at Bellagio. Right next door is the Cosmopolitan. There's a chandelier bar that's 3 stories high. Go to the second floor. It's the only place they serve this drink. It's called the Verbena, right? And order one for your guys. There's a little flower that floats on top. You got to chew it 28 times and eat it, and then stand back and watch the reaction of your people. And they're like, what are you talking about? Just say, trust me, it's a fun thing to do. Anyway, find the thing that might make your contact look good to their people. Don't
Yeah.
don't set them up to look foolish because you think it'll be funny, right? But I think, yeah. But the ultimate is a referral of some kind where they go, wow, this guy's for real. Yeah, look what he just
Yeah.
sent me. So
No, I think that's great. And I think at the same time, there's a key word in this phrase of taking withdrawals out of a relationship. It's relationship.
yes,
As you are growing in this industry, as you are building your career, you have to value relationships. Your network is your net worth is the common phrase, but you have to be cultivating that relationship with your network. And that takes, attention to detail. It takes being proactive. It takes being likable. I know that's a huge one. We talked about being on time, and they said that there's 3 things you have to do in order to be successful in your career. You have to, 1, be on time.
yes,
If you can be 2 of these 3, if you can be on time, if you can be good at your job, and if you can be likable. And you only have to be 2 of those, right? So if you can be on time and be likable, no one really cares if you're good at your job because they enjoy being around you and you're showing up, right? You're present.
right.
If you can be really good at your job and be likable, no one really cares if you're on time because you're getting things done and you're fun to be around, right?
Yeah, good point.
And so with those things, if you can be likable to a network, you're going to have a lot of value to people, right?
Yes,
Like if you have a great network that you can lean on because you're always making deposits, right? And people love being around you, man, you're going to be able to make withdrawals at the right times to make the right impact where you're at in the right place.
Listen,
right?
I think that's gotten me by in a lot of places over the years. So, and I'm smart enough to surround myself with people that are good at the job. So if I'm the on time and likable guy, but I bring an army of people that are great at their job, that's how I deliver. So great,
that's great.
good points.
So on the lines of being likable, another thing that is small but can really make an impact on whether you are successful or not is insincerity.
Great
Why don't
quote.
you talk about this one?
Great quote I heard. Insincerity is the enemy of clear communication. Right. So we were talking about the importance of clear communication. I think. I think. Sorry, you're going to challenge me on that?
No, I think that's my point about the AI note takers and sending the auto email after the meeting of here's the action items or whatever. It feels insincere.
Well, first of all, I think it's data, right? So I think it's sincere in the sense that it's true. I think the word right behind sincerity is authenticity, right? So it doesn't feel authentic. And by the way, this generation that's now here and coming up, and let's be honest about social media and the digital space, it rewards authenticity. It doesn't like, and I think as a result, we don't like canned, contrived, it seems insincere sounding or feeling engagements, right? I'd rather have somebody who's sort of funny and a little self-deprecating and unpolished, but man, did they just hit it out of the park on the point they made, right? Or something to that effect. I was an early sort of user, I think, in social media, and I was the guy that would be on the show floor and just videotape myself before selfie sticks and all that stuff. And people, it really resonated. It wasn't polished sizzle reel type stuff. I'm leaning on a crate and I'm talking to the union electrician about, and by the way, sometimes those guys are right out of central casting, right? So they're like, this is like watching a version of the Seinfeld episode or The Office. And you go, and the thing is, but people will trust the unpolished, authentic, sincere message. But man, I've been in meetings where the best salespeople I have are ignored because they sound salesy. But if I'm bringing a service manager or somebody on the operations team, clients will just eat out of that person's hand because they reek of serve you, not sell you. And that's sincere. That's authentic. So insincerity, I think, is a big red flag. You got to avoid anything that makes you sound or look that way.
I mean, I think a common thread through these are just intentionality,
It is.
through all of these. Yeah.
Well, and
Okay.
I mean, I don't think we
we've got
touched
2
on it
more.
yet, but somewhere in here is
Oh, go ahead.
accountability, right?
Yep.
Right. How,
Accountability, lack of accountability. Yep.
man, my kingdom for any vendor we work with that makes a mistake hopefully for a defendable reason, and they just pick up the phone and call me and they own that. I mean, we spend a lot of time with our field operators on the floor that if something gets damaged or broken on our watch, it doesn't have to be one of our employees. We gotta let somebody know. You have no idea if that's on its way to another event or how critical that is, or if they go, there's an extra set of graphics. Go ahead. Don't worry about that one. Got kinked or dimpled. Just, you pull one of the other ones. That's not even current anymore. We would like it. We would love to hear that. But if they go, this thing's going from show to show to show for the next 30 days, do you have an art file that you can send me? We'll have it reproduced here in this city. And before this dismantle takes place, I will have that replacement graphic added to this and we will swap that. I just want to, look, I'm in a business, Khalil. We're in a business that something's always going to happen because there's so many variables we have little to no direct control over. I'm never upset or concerned when I hear about something like that. I am concerned about how do we respond. And I think taking accountability is the first thing you can do, especially for your regular customers. You should do it for anybody. But, this is how you prove. What's character, they say? How you behave when no one else is looking.
Yeah.
I was coming out of a safety meeting. Do you know what that means when I say I was at a safety meeting?
I do.
I know you do.
The famous EDPA safety meetings.
Okay. So I literally had left a safety meeting at a local cigar bar. Parking lot was packed. And I'm looking for my car and I hear crunch. And I turn around and I saw a white Toyota Camry. Maybe this person had too much to drink and they misread the tight parking spot and they crunched the corner of the car next to them and crunched again as they backed away. And they hightailed it out of there and they just took off.
Wow.
And I wasn't near my car. I followed them and I wasn't close enough to get a picture. And I didn't know what restaurant. This was in a crowded kind of strip mall area. And so I was like, do I leave a note and say I witnessed this and I know it was a white Camry, but I have no other information? So I didn't do anything and I felt probably crappier about it than the person that hit. But my point is accountability. What's the right thing to do? You should have stopped. You should have left a note. You should have left your phone number and, your insurance information, something. But
yeah.
And I think they saw me see them when it happened, by the way. So I'm like,
wow.
Am I at risk here if I go over and confront? So be that as it may. That's not the happy note we like to end on, Cleo. So
no, we've got one even happier note to end on. We haven't covered sloppy billing. Like,
by the way, that's my screen name
late
on a lot of chat rooms.
That's your
sloppy billing.
It's sloppy billing. Invoicing late, rounding up.
Yeah. Overcharge.
Yeah.
Hashtag
overcharge.
Sloppy billing just is, we have a lot of great vendors. Many are freelancers or soloists, and they get behind on their administrative duties. So you're not doing me or your clients any favors if you literally are 3 months late in invoicing. You're not doing anybody any favors if you rush through doing it because you're behind and you lack the attention to detail. You've missed something, and I know you've missed it, and we want to get you paid, but don't be that person that does it sloppily. And the real pet peeve is you're late, you send me an invoice, and you somehow communicate you need this paid within 48 hours, and you're the one that's waited too long to bill. You don't have a right to do that. So when I say sloppy billing, those are the kinds of things I'm talking about. These are not deposits in the relationship account. These are withdrawals. And you might be great, and you might love you, and we might look the other way and still try and fast track your payment. But I'm not thinking better of you when you do those things. So would you agree? I mean, do you have any of that going on?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you've got to be honest, be diligent. It's always going to pay off in one way or another to do that, even though you may want to do the opposite because you think it's going to pay off, but shortcuts lead to dead ends. So
shortcuts lead to dead ends.
Don't shortcut those.
Yeah.
All right, so we covered all 3 of the 10 small things that can lose big clients. I'll recap them really quick. Fail to proofread anything you're sending out. Fail to send a follow-up. Fail to communicate clearly. Show up late. Provide incorrect or inaccurate information. Don't worry about your appearance.
Or of you or your
withdrawals.
stuff. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, you or your deliverables, your product, your appearance in all capacities. Take withdrawals from a relationship without deposits. Be insincere. Have sloppy billing. And lack accountability. All of those are 10 small things. Some of those are pretty big, actually, but 10 small things that will cost you not just clients, but potentially aspects of your career as well.
I think in this conversation, we've reminded people, Cleo, that lasting and loyal relationships very often are built on small, almost quiet courtesy type of professionalisms. Doesn't have to be a big save-the-day action that wins the account or the relationship. It's the consistency of doing things like we're talking about. I think the concern is if you cannot deliver on simple things like this, you leave people wondering, are you able to deliver on the big stuff that I'm counting on you for? So I think trust and credibility is earned. I think it's the most valuable thing in long-term relationships. And I think it can start by doing the simple things like we talked about today. So those are my takeaways.
Absolutely. No, this is great. Listeners, share it with people at your company, share it with interns, entry-level positions.
Yes.
Anybody that's new to the industry. If there's a certain one that we missed that you feel like should be added to the list, let us know. We'd love to hear from
if you're watching this or see any of the clips that are posted and you want to love to have you add it in the comments below the video postings and share the wisdom. I know there's a lot more stuff. So I appreciate you taking some time to unpack this with me this week. Thanks.
Fun times. Thanks, Chris.
See you on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to the Experience Builders podcast. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more great content. Visit our website at crewxp.com to learn more about us. See you in the next one.